What happens to those who disrespect Allah and His sacred book and messengers? Do they get punished in this world too? Let's get the answers to these questions. But before that, you need to see this. World's largest currency, the dollar, is dying. And we are here with a groundbreaking opportunity amidst these uncertain times. While all other communities have cryptocurrencies and trading platforms, they are not necessarily halal investment means for us, brothers and sisters. But fear not, for the solution has arrived. Introducing Islamic Coin, a halal digital asset designed to empower and safeguard you with the support of the UAE royals. Islamic Coin will be launched on September 1st and it already has 1 million Twitter followers. Download Haq Wallet today to get the opportunity of getting your first Islamic Coin before the official launch date. Follow Islamic Coin on Twitter. By actively engaging, you increase your chances of winning the possible airdrop. So, don't lose your chance. Remember what Pharaoh said in the pride and arrogance of his wealth and power? And who is this Lord that I should obey? In Surah Yunus, Allah says about Pharaoh, "Today we will preserve your corpse so that you may become an example and ibrat for those who come after you." And surely most people are heedless of our examples. We all know the story behind it. The river Nile let Musa and Bani Israel cross safely, but when Pharaoh reached the middle, the two sides of the river clashed with each other, drowning and killing the haughty king and his army. His body was not even found for the centuries to come. It had been preserved on the bed of the ocean till 1978, when a group of researchers discovered it, and the world saw another sign of ibrat and punishment for those who disrespect the Almighty. Shaddad bin Aad was the king of Yemen. He was a great sinner, arrogant and proud. He refused to take the path of Allah. The people of Iman in his empire would tell him to come to the right path, but in his arrogance and pride, he would say, "I don't need anyone. I have a long life. I have the jewels of the whole world. I will build my own paradise and be the God of these people." He challenged Allah to build a paradise on earth and be the God on earth, na'uzu billah. Letters were written to the sovereigns of the East and West, and they collected jewels for 10 years. Then the city was constructed in 300 years. Shaddad lived for 900 years. When the people told Shaddad that the paradise was ready, he embarked on his horse along with all his ministers and left for his paradise. A journey of a day and a half was left when a voice from the sky came and took their lives. And there he was. He could not even take a look at his so-called paradise. Such was his power and might in front of the Almighty Allah. Stephen Hawking, brothers and sisters, who does not know about this hell of an intelligent man? Did you know what he had said about God? In the words of Stephen Hawking, God is a fairy tale. Apart from the fact that he had been suffering from a neurological disease since he was 21 years of age, he suffered even more in his old age through his own wife, the love of his life, Elaine Mason. Shortly after his marriage to Mason, the professor began suffering a series of mysterious injuries: a fractured wrist, a broken arm, a split lip, a broken femur, 3 slash marks on his face. The media, Hawking's 2 children, all blamed Mason. Several nurses even came forward with testimony of Mason's rages, including one incident where Hawking typed, "I cannot be left alone with her. Please don't go. Get somewhere to cover the shift." Hawking's former assistant, Sue Macy, claims that Mason's behavior drove her to quit. "I left Stephen because I couldn't stand it," she told the media. Elaine is a monster. The injuries, she says, only happened when Hawking and Mason were alone. So what do you conclude? Is this even believable? Such a huge celebrity. His works are still under study and researchers are trying to get more out of them. But this is how he spends his life in his own home? Is this not Allah? Do you remember what happened to the great Titanic after his makers said that even God could not sink that ship? Na'udhu billah. They had already labeled it practically unsinkable. The ship sank so badly and its wreckage has been preserved deep in the ocean so perfectly that Allah made it an ibrat for all of us. Jose Dwayne Ricardo Onfroy, an American rapper who was known professionally by the name of Temptation, was a huge media celebrity. His songs were trending like fire, but he made a disrespectful comment, and that was the end of all of it. He said, "1 year from now, and everyone will be worshipping me." Arrogance and pride got into his head when he made this comment. Will Allah let him go for this blasphemy? See what happens with him. Jose Onfroy had just left Riva Motorsports with a friend when an SUV came in front of him and blocked his BMW. Surveillance video showed 2 masked gunmen emerging and confronting the 20-year-old singer at the driver's window, and one shot him repeatedly. They shot him multiple times in his neck. For what reason? They then grabbed a Louis Vuitton bag containing cash XXX Temptation had just withdrawn from the bank, got back into the SUV and sped away. The rapper's friend was not harmed. Why did they shoot him so many times when they all needed was cash? Nobody could believe what happened with the young celebrity. Tancredo Neves was the elected president of Brazil, but he could never assume charge of his office. His exact words at the time of election were, "Not even God can remove me from the presidency if I win the votes." He did win the votes, brothers and sisters, but never assumed charge as a president. Guess why? Neves fell gravely ill on the eve of his inauguration, 14th March 1985, and died 38 days afterwards, right at the evening of inauguration. He died of diverticulitis and never assumed his position as president. Can you imagine? He won the votes. He won the presidential election, but Allah made him to never actually become the president. Could he do anything? What were his words worth then? While smoking his cigarette during a show in Rio de Janeiro, he puffed out some smoke into the air and said, "God, that's for you." He died at the age of 32 of lung cancer in a horrible manner. With the turn of events, one can easily conclude that all power and honor belong to God.